teenager out celebrating the end of his GCSEs almost 1 year ago. An argument in a bar in North London which escalated to violence and the death of Ben Kinsella. 3 men have been found guilty of killing the 16-year-old. 18-year-old Jade Braithwaite, 19-year-old Jures Kika and 20-year-old Michael Elaine were today convicted by a jury at the Old Bailey. In a brutal attack, Ben was stabbed 11 times in 5 seconds by the 3 youths in revenge for the disrespect shown to Braithwaite earlier that day. Although the confrontation had nothing to do with him, he was chased along the street with other youngsters and stabbed to death when he stopped running. After the verdicts, it emerged Kika had been on the run from police for 10 days following a robbery in which a man was knifed. Elaine was being supervised by the local probation team as part of an 18-month detention and training order for drug dealing, released 3 months earlier after serving half the sentence in a detention centre. And Braithwaite had been given a community order for an attempted robbery. After the verdicts, a tearful Mrs. Kinsella read a victim impact statement to the court in which she said her son's killers would never know the pain they had caused to her family. Ben's sister Brooke and her family had wiped away tears as CCTV images were shown to the jury in which Ben could be seen staggering around after being stabbed. His father George made this statement shortly after the verdict.
Almost 1 year ago, our precious gentle son Ben was brutally murdered on the streets of London. How many more families like ours will have to stand outside the Old Bailey to get justice for their child? Our son's only crime was to be the last one running away from those animals. Knife crime is now sadly embedded in the very heart of Great Britain. It's running alive with gangs and feral youths.
Ben's killers had denied murdering the schoolboy, stating that they had only punched him. DCI John MacDonald led the investigating team. He says Ben was an entirely innocent victim.
The unfortunate thing for Ben was he ran into 3 young cowards who basically were older than him, bigger than him. There were 3 of them. He was on his own. They were armed with knives. He had nothing. He had no chance at all. Why do people like that get involved with such serious violence? Pure ignorance, that's all it is. Ignorance. They've got no ability, no social ability whatsoever to interact with people. They can't rationalise, they just resort to violence straight away. The positive thing that came out of this trial was the witnesses that came forward from Islington. We often have difficulty getting young people to give evidence to the police and to come to court. And there were some young people stood up in this case, came to court and gave absolutely fantastic evidence. They made a big difference, and I thank them all, from the bottom of my heart. And I know Ben's family would say exactly the same thing.
The 3 will be sentenced tomorrow.